My name is Gabriel Piemonte, and I'm a candidate for the position of 5th Ward Alderman. I want to talk to you today about the University of Chicago Police Department and about a shooting that took place yesterday in which the university's police force shot a student from the university. This took place a little bit north of the campus, but the University of Chicago Police have a jurisdiction that runs well north and south of the campus, so it wasn't outside of their footprint. However, the shooting in which the student was hit in the shoulder and was reported in serious condition and is now hospitalized took place in a context that was based on eyewitness reports odd enough that there is at least a strong possibility that there might have been a mental health issue that the student was struggling with. And it certainly raises the question of what the purpose of the University of Chicago police force is. A lot of folks in the ward are in favor of having the University of Chicago police outside of just the campus. They like the idea of additional police protection. I think it's terrific that people feel more secure as a result of having a second police force involved in a lot of the area that is in the 5th Ward. However, at the same time, I think we have to really worry about how this police department seems to perceive its role in terms of dealing with a challenging situation. In this case, there was a young man who was destroying property using a crowbar or a steel pipe, and when he was confronted by police, apparently his response was to approach them with the object, and that's why he was shot. What that suggests to me is that there weren't any clear alternatives from the point of view of the police, and I wonder if we would all agree with that if we were able to see the encounter. I raised this the issue of the shooting not to say that the police should never protect themselves, that they should never discharge a firearm, but to say that the University of Chicago Police are inside the 5th Ward. They're in the campus, which lies wholly inside the 5th Ward, and it is the responsibility of the alderman of the 5th Ward to be paying attention to what's happening when these officers are making decisions. To me, it's questionable whether or not a mental health solution, if that's what was needed here, was the discharge of a weapon. And I think that conversation has to be a transparent one. We need to understand exactly what transpired in terms of step by step what was happening and what the encounter was like, both for the suspect, now victim, as well as for the officers. And I think we need to have a frank conversation about whether the procedures that the officers were using are considered appropriate by the broader community and have a clear understanding of what their training is like. We need to treat the University of Chicago like it is any other citizen, any other institutional citizen of the 5th Ward, and of any part of the city of Chicago. We need to make sure that in circumstances where what I would consider to be extraordinary actions are taken, I mean, the use of violence against a citizen of our city, of our ward, has to be considered extraordinary. We got to know for sure that that is the sort of thing that needed to happen in that circumstance, that there were not other choices that could have been made. And we also have to have a dialogue about how we're handling mental health issues in our city generally. This circumstance, it turns out, is not one in which anybody was mortally wounded. And that's great. I think it's terrific that the police were safe, but I also think it's important that we all think about what it means that the campus police in our ward are able to inflict what is potentially lethal force in circumstances where damage to property seems to be the extent of what's happening.